StrayAllDay.com.
You are now tuned in to the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That's the go-getter energy that moves me, you, him, and her, everybody out there to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. We put all this together in one bundle, one package, one mindset, one method, one philosophy, one book, and one master class. It is known as Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. Congratulate yourself on being here. Today's topic is the 10% rule of information and action. Yes, the 10% rule of information and action. When I wrote my first book called Buy a Game, it was my early basketball story from the time that I started playing up through my college years. 97% of what I know now about writing books, I did not know then. In other words, when I wrote my first book, Buy a Game, I knew 3% about writing books and publishing books than what I know now. All right, so I know a whole lot more now. All right, 97% more now. I know 100% of what I know now, only 3% of it that I know back then. But I started anyway. I wrote the book anyway. I published the book anyway. I put it out for people to read anyway. And then you know what I did? I wrote the next one. And I got a little bit more information. Another one, another one, and another one, and now we're here. Since we have so much, and I'm talking we when I say all of us, when I say we, I'm talking all of us. Since we have so much access to information these days, many people have and continue to convince themselves that they are just one new piece of information away from taking successful action. Many people think, all right, well, if I just need one more piece of, let me just read one more book. Let me just ask one more question. Let me read one more blog post. Let me listen to one more master class from Dre Baldwin. Let me go talk to one more person. Let me go hire one more coach, and then I'll have enough information to do what I need to do. I'm just one piece of information away. The truth is a lot more simple and more finite than gathering, quote, more information, close quote. Because see, gathering information that's an endless process. You'll never be done gathering information. So if you think you're one piece of information away from doing anything, you'll never actually be there, because there will always be more information that you'll want. The more information you get, the more information you'll realize you don't have. So today, I'm going to help solve that problem of yours that you might not even know was a problem by giving you the 10% rule of information and action. So write this one down. Take notes on everything I'm going to say here today, because you're going to need to refer back to this in the future. Point number one. Today's topic, once again, is the 10% rule of information and action. Here's the rule. I'm going to give it to you right up front. You need only 10% of the information to get started. To get started on what, Dre? To get started on anything. Anything you want to get started on in life that you haven't started yet because you feel you don't have the information. Let me tell you something. You don't need all the information to get started. All right, wanting all the information is an oxymoron anyway, and I'll explain that in a moment. You don't need 100% of the information to get started on something. That's damn near impossible. You don't need 50% of the information. All you need is 10% of the information. That is enough for you to begin taking action. And let me be clear here. I'm going to throw this out here up front too. The action that you take when you have only 10% of the information, it will probably not lead to the outcome that you want. The action that you take when you have only 10% of the information will probably not produce the success that you're after. But I'm telling you to do it anyway. Now, why would I tell you to take some action even though it will probably not even lead to the outcome that you want? Let me tell you why. Because you will learn through action, number one. You will jump ahead of a whole bunch of other people. 95% of your competition will not take action with only 10% of the information. So you become a leader by default because you went first. You will start to get information that you can only get through action, which means, again, 95% of your competition will never get this information because they'll never start because they don't have a certain piece of information, but it's information you can only acquire through taking action. So you're going to be ahead of all of them because they can't get it because they haven't taken the action. You will learn things through taking action that you cannot learn through study, that you cannot learn through talking, that you cannot learn through reading books, that you cannot learn through listening to podcasts and watching YouTube videos. You have to go do things to learn certain things. But most people won't do that because they don't have enough information yet. So you see how they're in a catch-22. They're spinning themselves in a circle that they will never get out of. They're in an endless loop. When I was in college, they made us take this computer class. It was called C++. I don't know if any of you know programming language. This is a bullshit-ass class and these dingy-ass computers with the green screen type of thing. The text is all green. And in this class, I just remember one thing out of this class was whenever we had to develop these programs and write this code and then show the teacher that our code was working properly. But sometimes we would develop the code and it would do the same thing over, and the computer would start returning the same result over and over and over and over again. It wouldn't stop, and we had to hard reset the computer because our code was not put in properly. And the teacher told us this is called an endless loop. An endless loop. But that's a mistake. You're not trying to create an endless loop, but we were creating endless loops because we didn't know what the hell we were doing on the computers. This is what people do to themselves in life. They create the endless loop of, I need information. Step 1, I need information. Step 2, I won't begin taking action until I get this information. Step 3, the only way to get the information is by taking action, but I can't because I need the information first. They're right back to step 1, I need information. This is an endless loop. They just go around this circle for their entire lives. You are going to break that cycle and not have this endless loop because I just told you that you only need 10% of information to get started. Not half and not all of it. And I'm telling you up front, you will probably fail in your action when you take action with only 10% of the information. So what am I saying? What am I saying here? Am I telling you to go do something that's probably going to fail? Yes, that's what I'm telling you. I'm telling you to do something that's probably going to fail because there's certain information that you can only get through action. You will not get through deliberation or study. You will learn through action. You will iterate, meaning you will make adjustments to what you did the first time and then you can try again. And this time, the second time that you try, after you failed the first time with only 10% of the information, the next time you'll have 18% of the information. Then you repeat this process. The next time you're going to have 31% of the information. And then you go on and on. I'm not going to count all the way up to 100. This is why most people don't act on just 10% of the information. Let me tell you why this is. Why, even though I tell people the 10% rule, why would they still not go take action with only 10% of the information? Here's why. Because most people will not take any action until or unless they are guaranteed success. Most people will not do anything unless there's a guarantee of success attached to it. And here's the problem with that. Here's the problem with wanting a guarantee of success before you take action is that guaranteeing success is impossible. So most people won't do A until B is guaranteed to them. The problem is B is impossible. So that means most people can't do A. They never do anything, never take any action, even though they have plans, they have ideas, hopes, wishes, and goals and dreams. They never take action on them because they want to guarantee that it's going to work out. But nobody can guarantee you that something's going to work out. Therefore, you do nothing. Well, you got two options. One option is realize that expecting a guarantee of success makes no sense. So let me erase that need for a guarantee of success and go take action anyway. That's one option. Here's the second option. Continue waiting for the guarantee of success and do nothing until you get it. And most people live their whole lives and they wait until they die. Actually, don't wait until they die. They just die waiting for the guarantee of success. So which one is going to be you? And everybody in life is going to be either A or B. You are either taking action in the present, even though you don't have all the information, or you're waiting for a guarantee of success or waiting for, quote, more information, close quote, which is impossible because there will always be more information. Or you'll never do anything if you're waiting for more information. I don't care how much you have and how much you're waiting for. You'll never do anything if you're waiting to get more information because there will always be more information to be gotten. So you got to take action on 10% of the information. You're waiting on an impossibility, like having all the information, quote unquote, all the information, impossible. Because every day, in the time it took me to say the last two sentences, 1,000 pieces of new information got put out around the exact thing that you want to do. How are you possibly going to consume it all? You can't. It's scientifically impossible for you to consume it all. So if you're waiting on more information or waiting to have all the information or waiting for a guarantee, all three of those are impossible to have. If any of those are the things that are stopping you from taking action, let me tell you something. You're either going to die waiting for them or you can change your mind. Those are two options you got. Your choice. Waiting on impossibilities keeps most people from achieving. It's not a lack of skill. It's not a lack of talent. It's not a lack of information. It's not a lack of resources. Most people fail because they're waiting on some impossibility that could not possibly happen, but they think they need that before they start. Because unconsciously they don't want to start, because unconsciously they already know they're going to fail. They decided to fail anyway, so they come up with a convenient excuse. Like, I need more information. Like, I need all the information. Like, I need a guarantee of success. They know logically that that's impossible. Unconsciously, maybe they know it's impossible. But they keep using that as their excuse to not start so that they don't have to go through the failure. Because they know they're going to fail anyway. So they just shortcut the whole process and just fail by doing nothing. I might be talking about you. You tell me. Understand that there will always be things in life that you don't know. There will always be information that you don't have. Always. The smartest person in the world, in any particular area or subject matter, there are things that that person just does not know. And they know that there are things that they don't know. And they know that they will never catch up to all the information that's out there. So what you got to do is start now and figure it out as you go. Kobe Bryant, the 2012 Olympics. The games were in London. This is summer games. Kobe was on the Team USA basketball club. And when he was speaking to the press before the games had began, one of the members of the press asked Kobe, he said, Kobe, you're the elder statesman on the team. He was the oldest guy on the team. And he said, do you think you could learn a lot from these other players on the team who are all younger than you? You think you'll learn some things from these guys? Did I say 2010? I meant 2012. I think I said 2012. And Kobe said, no. He said, no, I don't think I'm going to learn a lot from these other guys on Team USA. So the reporter followed up. The follow-up question was, so what are you saying, Kobe? Are you saying that you know everything about basketball? And Kobe said, no, I don't know everything, but I know more than these guys. And I'm telling you that story to illustrate this point. Kobe understood that he didn't have all the information about basketball. He understood he didn't know everything there was possible to know. But he also understood that if he waited to do his thing until he got all the information, he'd never play. He'd never play basketball again. He'd be in his house studying. He'd never get a chance to get on the court again because he's waiting to get all the information. It's impossible, people. You got to take what you have and go with that and be all right with that. Because as you go, you will learn more things. Point number 2. Today's topic is the 10% rule of information and action. Listen, 90% of you, if you just follow what I just told you on point number 1, that should be life-changing information right there. Cost you nothing. Point number 2. What if I still don't know where to begin? This is a question that somebody may ask. Well, okay, Dre, I heard everything you said in point number 1, but what if? This is what people do when they're trying to delay action. You give them the information that they need. You tell them everything they need to actually take action. They come up with a what if question. What if I still don't know where to begin? Here's my answer to that question. What if you still don't know where to begin? Good. It's good that you still don't know where to begin. And let me tell you why it's good. Because you're not supposed to know. Because, damn it, you only have 10% of the information. How much do you think you're going to know with only 10% of the information? You're supposed to not know where to begin when you only have 10% of the information, after all. Okay, it makes sense that you don't know. There's a lot of stuff you don't know. 90% of the things that you need to know, you don't know. You only got 10%. Okay? So it's good that you don't know. I'm going to let you digest that for a moment. If you don't know where to begin, that's okay. Here's my question to you. Do you have a guess? Do you have an educated guess of where you could begin, even though you don't know? You know, sometimes I ask somebody a question. I say, they'll ask me a question, and I'll respond to their question with a question. I say, well, what do you think you could do? They say, well, no, Dre, what should I do in this situation? I say, well, what do you think you should do in this situation? What are some possibilities? What are your options in this situation? You know how that person answers me often? They answer by saying something like, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. That's why I'm asking you the question. All right, here's my response to anybody who responds to my question that was a response to your question. Is this. I know you don't know. When I ask you what you think you should do, when I ask you what you think your options are, when I ask you what are some possibilities for what you could do, when I ask that question to you, anyone who's listening to this, if you ever deal with me one-on-one and I respond to your question with that question, I know that you don't know. I understand that that's why you asked me the question. I understand that you are lacking information. The reason why I ask you what you think, or what your possibilities are, what your options are, I'm asking you that question because I am challenging you to think. That's why the question is, what do you think you can do? I didn't say what do you know you can do. I said, what do you think you can do? So your answer can't be, I don't know. Or your answer could be, I don't think. Now, if you don't think, you shouldn't be talking to me. I never heard anybody say, I don't think. I always hear people say, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know where I should go. I don't know how to handle the situation. Well, shit, I'm not asking you what you know. I know you don't know. Because if you knew, you wouldn't be talking to me. You wouldn't be asking me a question, would you? Because you already know. I'm asking you what you think. That means I'm challenging you to use your brain, put it to work, because it has no other jobs but to work for you. Give it a job and ask yourself what you think you can do. What are your possibilities? What are your options? If you had to come up with something, what would you come up with? I don't know is not an acceptable answer to that question. I don't know. When someone challenges you to think and your answer is, I don't know, or your answer is to be exasperated or get annoyed with that person because they're challenging you to use your brain, or I don't know is telling your brain to take the day off. When someone challenges you to think and your response is, well, I don't know, that's why I'm asking you, and you get annoyed or you get pissed off because they're challenging you to think, you are telling your brain to take a vacation and not work for the rest of the day. Here's the problem with that. Your brain doesn't need a vacation. Your brain works for you 24 hours a day. If you just tell it what to do, it will do exactly what you say. If you say do nothing, it will do nothing. The problem with your brain doing nothing is you can't borrow another person's brain when your brain is not working. So if you don't know where to begin, good. You're not supposed to. What do you think you can do to get started? Whatever your answer is, do that. All right, you got 5 answers, do the first one. If that doesn't work, do the second one. If that doesn't work, do the third one. Keep going until you go through all 5. If none of them work, come up with 5 more. Repeat. Do it again until you figure it out. Until you get a little bit of progress. Then do the same process over and over and over again. I just gave you the formula for success. Anything you do in life, I guarantee that formula works. Start where you are with the 10% of information you have. Learn what happened. Pay attention to what happens with whatever option you choose. Iterate, make adjustments, and then do it over again. Then do that over again. And then just keep doing it until you get to where you need to get to. I guarantee that will not fail. Only 2 things can happen in that situation. Either A, you achieve your outcome, or B, you die. One or the other. Guaranteed. If that doesn't work, come see me. Point number 3. Today's topic is the 10% rule of information and action. What if, here's another what if question. What if I'm in a special situation, Dre? I get everything you said here. I get everything about the 10% rule. Only need 10% of information. I only got 10%. What if you got the what if part about what if I still don't know what to do? I get that part. I get everything you're saying here, Dre. But, and there are people who do this. What if I'm in a special situation? I understand it worked for you, and I understand it worked for him and her and all of them over there. But what if I'm in a special situation? My situation is different from everybody else, and I really need more than just 10% of the information. Well, let's just assume that that's true. Maybe you do need more than 10% of the information to get started. Maybe you're in medical school and you can't just go start performing brain surgeries and open heart surgeries with only 10% of the information. You'll kill somebody, end up in jail, and then give you a hospital and malpractice suit. Maybe you do need more than 10% of the information. Maybe this is true. Okay? I will accept that maybe you're in a special situation where you know for sure, guaranteed, that you need more than 10% of the information. Here's my answer to that. If this is true, then surely I am 100% sure that you know what that, quote, more, close quote, information is. Therefore, your action step is to go get that information. You get it? You see, if you're in medical school and you know that you can't start performing surgeries with only 10% of the information, that means you know that there's 90% that you're missing, which also means you know what that 90% is. At least you know what some of it is, which means you know where to go get it. So your action step is to go get that piece that you're missing. You know you can't start taking action with 10% of the information. Therefore, there's some piece that you don't know. Therefore, you know you need to go get it. You got that? If you didn't get that, rewind it and listen to it 3 times in a row until you get it. Go get the information if you know that you need more information. That means you know what the information is. You know where the information is at. You know who has it. Go get it. If you know what's missing and you know what's necessary, your business is to go acquire what's missing and necessary. And this should be the easiest step of all. This is the easiest one of any of them. To act with 10% of information, not knowing anything else, is a challenging thing to do, which is why most people don't do it. Which is why I'm giving it to you as a point here today. Because if you do it, you're going to jump ahead of most people just by default. Even if you're 100% wrong, just by taking action, you're ahead of everybody else. The second one, what if You don't know where to begin. Good, do something anyway. Most people won't do anything until they are guaranteed or have their hand held as far as what to do next. And this is why most people never do anything, because most people don't get their hands held and most people don't have guarantees of success. So most people do nothing in life, nothing of consequence, let's say. You know that you need a certain amount of information. That means you probably know what it is. You know that you don't have it. That means you know that you're missing it, which means you know how to go get it. Go get it. Go find it. Go pay for it. Go acquire that information. This is easy. This is the easiest part of all. It's laid out for you. The path is laid out. You're a doctor. You know what school you got to go to. You know what classes you got to take. You know what GPA you must acquire. You know what tests you got to take. This is easy. That's the easiest of all, man. Your path is quite clear compared to people who are only working with 10% of the information. When I was playing basketball, I figured out that I needed to know what exposure event to go to. I figured, just looking at my situation, I said, all right, coming out of college, this is what I knew. This is what I knew at the time, or at least what my theories were. I can't even say I knew it because I didn't really know because I hadn't done it. My theory was that to play overseas, I either need to have a team coming to me because I put up such great stats in college. Didn't have that, so that wasn't a possibility for me. Or I need to have an agent who was willing to represent me because they saw some potential for me playing pro. Now, I know that no agent has seen me play in college, and I also knew that I didn't have any game film with which to sell myself to an agent, so that wasn't a possibility. The only other possibility I saw was to go to a tryout or an exposure event where I could show my game live in person and get attention that way. So therefore, I knew that the only option I had was to go to a tryout or an exposure event so I could show my game. So I didn't have any problem with the first step. The first step was I got to go to an exposure event. I knew that. All right, how do I get to an exposure event? Let me go Google and find out what exposure events are out there. All right, these events cost money. All right, do I have this money? No, let me save it up. Saved up money for a year so I can go to an exposure event. All right, now at the exposure event, what I got to do? All right, play basketball. Do I know how to do that? Yes. All right, done. I have my path. Now, it didn't happen as quickly as I said it, but it happened. But I knew what I needed to do. My job was very easy. Find an exposure event, save up the money to go to the exposure event, get some time off of the job that I was working, the full-time job I was working to go to the exposure event. Now the part that I already know is there, play basketball. All right, now I just had to perform. That worked for me, and it got me signed. But all I had to do was break it down logically, systematically. What's the next step? What's the next step? What are my options? What are my possibilities? What do I think is going to work? I didn't know. There was no book. There was nobody holding my hand. There was no one I could look up to as a mentor who had already done it, who was giving me the information. I didn't have any of that. All I had to do was think. How can I get on overseas? The team has to sign me. Why would the team sign me? Because they know that I'm good. How would they know I'm good? Either somebody vouched for me or I could prove it. One or the other. Did I have anybody vouching for me? No. Can I prove it? I don't have any video proof. How can I get video proof? How can I prove that I'm good? Let me go to one of these events where everybody plays and you prove that you're good against other people at the same level. Done. 10% of the information. Let's recap today's topic, which is the 10% rule of information and action. When I wrote my first book, Buy a Game, I knew 3% of what I know now about writing, publishing, selling, getting books into the hands of readers. But I did it anyway. Published the book, wrote another one, got more information, wrote another one, got more information. Now we're here today. We have so much access to information online these days, all of us. Many of us convince ourselves that we are just one new piece of information away from successful action. The problem with this is there's too much information out there for us to say we need more information. And so it's a much simpler and much more finite solution to that, and I'm giving it to you today. Point number one, here's the rule. You only need 10% of the information to get started in anything in life. You do not need 100%. You don't need 50%. You only need 10% to begin taking action. And understanding that action may not, probably won't lead to success. But you will learn through action. You will iterate, adjust, and try again. This time you have 18%. Next time, 31%. This is why most people don't act on 10% of the information. They want to guarantee a success, which is impossible. This is why most people never do anything. Point number two. What if you still don't know where to begin, even though you understand the 10% rule? My answer to that is good. You're not supposed to know. You only got 10% of the information. Why would you know what to do? You don't know where to begin? Great. Do you have a guess? Where do you think you should begin? Start there. All right. I heard a whole lot of people say, I don't know. Never heard a person say, I don't think. All right. So if you have the ability to think, if you can understand the words coming out of my mouth right now, you can think. Where do you think you can begin? Start with that. All right. That didn't work. Think again. Start with that. That didn't work. Think again. Start with that. All right. And just keep doing that until you figure out a way that works. Till you get more information, till you got more than 10%. Now start the process all over again. Now where do you think you should begin? Now what do you think you should do next? Now what do you think you can do? Keep doing that forever. I guarantee there are only two possible outcomes to that. Either A, you achieve your outcome, or B, you die. Point number three. What if I'm in a special situation though, Dre, and I really need more than just 10% of information? Well, if that's true, then you probably know what that more information is and you know where to go get it. So your next action step is to go get it. If you know what the missing but necessary information is, make it your business to acquire that information. And this should be an easy step for you since your path is quite clear compared to those who are only working with 10% blindly. When I was playing ball, I had 10% information. I was pretty blind to it, but I could logically decipher what the steps would be for me to get to where I wanted to get to. And if those steps had been wrong, those steps that I laid out for you that I made sound so simple, had they been wrong, what would I have done? I'm a smart guy. I'm a college educated guy. I would have thought and figured out, you know what else could possibly happen here? What are some other ways I could do this? I would have came up with some more possibilities, tried those out, and figured things out until they worked. And either one or two things would have happened. Actually, three things. Either A, I would have achieved my outcome. B, I would have got too old to play pro basketball, which would have been like, I don't know, I could still be doing it, still trying right now. Or C, I would have died. One of the three. With 10% of the information, you have enough to get started. So get up off your ass and go do something. Work on your game. Dre, all